Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 246, and today we're doing battle with Aatrox Reaver's Row. And so the Reaver's Row deck really popped off last season. It wasn't out and about running around with Aatrox, that was a version of a deck using Talia. And so the idea would be that you play Reaver's Row on turn 4, then on turn 5 you play Talia, copy the Reaver's Row, and then you have that one drop generation across the next few turns, and then when the Reaver's Row pops off, all of those units you generated on the board get the bonus. And so I thought that was, going to be kind of the end of the Reaver's Row. People played that deck. It wasn't that spectacular. It had a lot of meme value to it, but not a lot of competitive integrity, and people kind of moved on. And so I was kind of interested seeing this version of the Reaver's Row pop up. I'm not sure if a content creator put it together or what happened with it, but it's been on the radar over the past couple of days, and I'm happy to bring it forth to you in case you haven't seen it. And so it is a fairly straightforward deck. We're looking to take maximum advantage of our one drops. The namesake card Reaver's Row most certainly wants you to play one drops, and we'll be looking to use this to maximize our units that typically aren't that strong. Outside of the Reaver's Row, we also have cards like Jagged Butcher that give the one cost units everywhere a bonus, and then Steem to allow us to put the vulnerables out across the opposing units. And so that is the kind of standard collection of synergies. Slap all your one drops on the board, and then a couple turns later boost them up as you can. The card that really ties it all together for me is going to be the Darkin Bloodletters. This is something that lets you upgrade one of your bad units, trade it off in combat, get a replacement one cost unit, which you can then equip and then get some more strong attacks out of. It's a very nice collection of synergies that happens from the Darkin Bloodletters at a very cheap cost. Now, assuming that we aren't able to finish off the game with this big collection of one drops, this big collection of aggressive stuff that we're doing, we also have a lot of late game power. That was something that you really lacked playing the Talia deck. If your initial burst of one cost units in your Reaver's Row weren't enough to finish the game, then your game plan was just kind of done. You couldn't really do too much more after that. You just had to hope you got some more ones on the board and they were enough to attack in and finish. But as we're out here playing Aatrox, having access to all of the Darkin gives us this great amount of inevitability as to where we can play these gigantic 6 and 7 and 8 cost units throughout the course of the game. And then we also have access to Zolani, as these smaller units are very easy to boost, whether or not that's with an equipment or with a Reaver's Row or with a Jagged Butcher. It's very easy for the Zolani to get bonus attack, and this is another fantastic way to come in and close out a game. And so while that old version of the deck, again, didn't have too much in the way of finishing things off. If the combo didn't do it, you were kind of done. This actually has a ton of late game power to it. So if we can get into this space to where we've played all of our one drops and we've just kind of traded back and forth, right? Our opponent's trading for our ones so that they just don't die. We're both getting drained out of cards. Then ideally, we can still come over the top of the opponent with either a big equipment or with an Aatrox or with a Zolani. And so, good stuff. That's the deck. That's what we'll be doing battle with today. Let's go ahead, jump on in, see if we can't get ourselves into some good games here. All right, good stuff. The old Reaver's Row. These were a fun collection of cards to play in Expedition as well. I really miss the days of Expedition when you could piece together decks like this and have what looks to be like a turd come together to really have a couple of nuggets of corn sprinkled in the turds that you got there. But not a bad start. The Shell Shocker is a fantastic one in that it lets us come down, drop some of these earlier plays without having to slow down. So we can add in the Shell Shocker. Don't have to worry about not being able to play equipment since we have the extra mana coming out of this. Since we're out here up against Ash LeBlanc, I feel pretty safe going ahead and equipping the Darkin Ballista. He's not going to have any way to kill our Shell Shocker here in the upcoming turns. And so we have the choice here. Do we want to punch for maximum damage, or do we want to add another unit? And I'm actually going to come in and add another unit here. It's very likely that the opposing deck just doesn't have a play. And if it does have a play, it's probably going to be a turd like the Trifarian Glory Seeker. So we're pretty safe to come in and attack. We definitely get the plunder bonus for our Jagged Butcher. Now we'll be dropping him on the board, seeing if he's not going to face down any opposing 3/3s. You never know when that Avrosian Trapper is going to be coming down on board. Got a meaty unit to get in front of it. And Zolani.
Places to go, people to be.
Okay. Let's get this lined up properly. I'm going to put the Bloodletters onto the Shell Shocker so that we can trade away the Shell Shocker unit in front of LeBlanc. Aw. I was hoping he brought in the hook on our big unit, right? So the idea was that we are going to just throw away the Shell Shocker and then still have our stronger unit on board. Not going to be the case happening here for us. But lots of power coming in. Let's see what we can do. This should be a pretty decent open attack here. We're only losing out on 1 point of damage in the Darkin Bloodletters, and I don't want to see opponent just play a bigger unit here. It's like if he played Ashe, that would be kind of great, but if he's playing any of the kind of mid-gamey plays from this deck, it's not going to be super ideal. Now we can follow up behind, add in the Reaver's Row, add in the Bloodletters to the Butcher. Keep powering on, powering forward. Feels good. Get this massive Zolani on the board. Uh-oh. Hitting Dreg Dredgers. I had to stop and say, what the F? What just happened? We started to toss. It's the Dreg Dredgers. I gotcha. Not a bad start here. We'll add in the Bloodletters. We're going to add in a second Reaver's Row. Now, the Reaver's Rows here are going to happen a little bit unfortunately. These countdowns are going to happen left or right, so the Reaver's Row with one countdown on it is going to activate first, put the 1-drop on the board, give everybody the bonuses, and then the second Reaver's Row is going to activate. So the 1-drop that comes out of our second friend here is not going to get any boosts. Aw, man, and we hit a Shadow Fiend. This game's dumb. I guess we can at least use it with Steem, but that was not ideal. Getting the old ephemeral unit out here. Alright, he's still gonna be attacking though. Don't you worry, my friend. Oh no, and we didn't get our 1-drop for Steem? Oh my gosh, we've messed this up everywhere. It'll be okay, but it's not how we wanted it to go. It's okay. Make a sad noise while we're at it. Make a sad noise. Alright, Ashe comes through. She's nowhere near flipping, so we don't have to worry about that. I was hoping we could, say, just load up the Shadow Fiend with the Darkin Ballista, but it's not going to be enough of a unit, right? We drop the Shadow Fiend, he can just block it with our Trifarian Assessor. So we'll leave him at home for the moment.
This will be quick. These are our lands.
If he trades out on our Darkin Bloodletters, we can put the equipment on the Shadow Fiend and still get a little Bloodstalker bro. whatever these things are called, we can get one.
Are you certain?
Sandstalker, Bloodstalker bro, Darkin Thrall. I nailed it. We were close. Okay.
Right. Strike now.
Fresh 1-drop. Looks good.
Rose blooms once more.
Get these animations out of the way. Fresh 1-drop. Looks good. And so now again we're gonna put a Darkin Bloodletters onto the Shadow Fiend. So when it ephemerals away, we'll get a fresh unit. Then that fresh unit will get the boost from the other Reaver's Row. Then here, we might as well go ahead and spend some of this mana. Can't play the Bloodletters, but we can play the Ballista. Or can't play the Ballista, but we can play the Bloodletters. I'd have preferred to play the Ballista here, but we've already played it this turn. That's right. Here comes a unit. There comes a bonus. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Is he going to Reckoning and then we just drop the Zolani? Nothing wrong with that. Well, there's a little wrong with it. The Ashe is going to be able to attack into Zolani and cause some problems, but he's ready to get on board. Transform attacking non-Darkin followers into exact copies of me. All right. Just got to get into that next turn, right? We probably... it's a little bit worrisome. I don't think we want to end up open attacking here. Right? The problem we do have is if he has a Harsh Winds in hand, it's nice to be able to open and get the 2 giant units, but I'm ultimately a little worried that it's not going to be enough. Attacking, so we can't play the Watchful Idol and have it immediately boost. Right, let's get more on board. Again, just worried if we make this attack and he's got a Harsh Winds or something, we're going to fall too far behind. All right, well, here comes the squad. Big old collection of duders out here. What you got for us? Flash freeze number 1. Surprised we didn't see that happen before combat, right? I don't think it doesn't say exact copies. Maybe he doesn't flip into a 0 power unit. All the flash freezes. At least glad to see them this turn instead of next turn, so we get a little bit more potential to block. I'm going to add in the Watchful Idol. I mean, we do have this great Darkin Blade combo for the Idol, right? It takes the damage, it heals itself, everything goes nicely, and then we'll try to World End with it a couple turns from now. Got some dudes to put on board, got a pretty healthy life total, but we might have been okay. GG. Mark it a W for bust. Everything coming together in game 1. I love it when it happens in game 1. You get the Zolani, you get the Reaver's Row, you get the Aatrox, a lot of the equipment. Good stuff right from the start. That Darkin Bloodletters coming down, giving us a big pile of dudes. It's so nice when it comes together in game 1. You get to see all the excitement tie together. Oof. Hydrate on some energy drink. Move on. I occasionally see the threads pop up on Reddit about Robert California from The Office. And it's one of my favorite things as to where, if you're not familiar with The Office or the story in it, a lot of the guys in the warehouse pulled together and won the lottery. And then, do we just want to double trouble on turn 2? Let's just start dropping units. We can manage if we run into a turn to where we have leftover spell mana. But no, the guys in the warehouse in The Office, they hit the lottery and they take all their money and they invest it in a Chinese branded energy drink designed for homosexual men. And it apparently just has a penis flavor. And one of the things that Robert California says, one of the big quotes, is like he gets the new flavor of the new flavor of the energy drink. Takes a sip of it and he starts just going, "Ugh, it's too much coconut flavor." I'm gonna be butchering the delivery, but he really loves that penis flavored energy drink, and it's a shame they changed the formula. All right, though, on with the battles. Let's see. I assume that we want to kind of, well, I don't think we want to continue on with the double trouble. What I'm kind of envisioning here, this is tough. This is a tough spot with this. It's like I want to get Steem on board so that we can put the mark onto Caitlyn, and then, we can challenge Caitlyn down with the Darkin Fan. But if we want to get Reaver's Row on an attacking turn, we need to play it next turn. And so I'm not as amped about just dropping the double trouble. I think we still want to Darkin Fan. I'm going to load it up on the Jagged Butcher. and then just start taking this a little bit slower. And so we might have to fade a bit of puff cappage here. It's scary having these flashbang traps roll into the deck, but I think this is going to give us the most opportunity to have a high impact attack 2 turns from now. Now that he's going to boost the Reaver's Row, everything's kind of circling back to the other game plan. I assume he's going to make the Reaver's Row cost 6. So next turn, yeah, we can just play Steem. Now we can hook Caitlyn and get some better attacks in here. Now, one of the things to consider with these boards are you can put the Darkin Bloodletters onto the husk and then have the next unit come in, get the extra bonuses from the husk. And so you get a little bit more stats across the way. I don't think we're going to be going for that here, but it is a strategy you can look to use. Just load up the Bloodletters onto Steem. Try and take the scout attack into Caitlyn. He says, nah, no you didn't. Have to try and remove her this way. Our board's getting pretty full here. I'm just going to attack with everyone. He does have some pretty good blocks onto our Buru cultists, but I feel like we're just going to run out of space as we start to cast things like Double Trouble. And so we might as well just attack with everyone. Don't like all these flash bombs coming in. A little scary, a little scary. But Caitlyn is removed. What do we got? I'm down to 11. Only 2 cards in hand at this point. So he is going to start blowing up our dudes. This is the kind of spot where you're like, all right, dude, go for it. You know, hit like 6 flash bombs this turn. Just take away our turds of units. see if we can't make it to the next round. All right, there's 2. We asked for it, so we can't complain about it. All right, Double Trouble can come in. Is that a bird and a Protoporo? So many pranks. We're not going to be playing Reaver's Row until turn 10. All right, so we definitely want to get the Bloodletters down. If he's going to hit us with a flashbang next turn, then we want to kind of maximize his chances of hitting the thing that's going to keep us with units on board. We play everything here. We got 7 mana, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did the math, it works out. Let's get everybody on board. Uh-oh. This guy's the problem. The Ava Achievers where things really start to pop off and cause trouble.
Excuse you. Ready for anything. Backpack shield.
Getting a little scared, fam. A little scared. So I think with the sequencing next, no, the round start effects will happen before we draw the card. I was curious if all the flashbangs would happen before the Reaver's Row counted, or after the Reaver's Row counted down, so our units would be safe. It's not the way it's going to work. 4 coming in, all 4 landing on the same unit. Nice 12 for center. Yeah, I think we're going to be donezo here. He's gotten pretty far ahead.
The better the trophy.
Sure. Okay, GG. It's a little bit slow. That's a tough matchup. Just throwing wave after wave of units at the opponent. All right, though. Good stuff. Next battle. Making us try and play that 10 mana Reaver's Row. If the game gets to that point, I really doubt you're going to be doing going to be doing any winning. Alright, what do we got here? Some Samira Leona. Sounds good. Let's see. We can hang on to the Reaver's Row and the Double Trouble. We'll probably come up with a 1-drop on turn 1, but if we don't, then the Double Trouble really comes in and just fills in the gaps. It's not the biggest problem if we don't have a turn 1 play, especially against a deck like Sunburn, as it has a lot of 1-drops of their own and probably just not even going to be able to attack.
Clad in shining sunlight.
Double Trouble in. Unit's no good at blocking, but potentially interesting Nimble Poro here. He says, I got your back. I got your back, fam. I'm ready to do the blocking. Just go ahead and load it up. We'll play our kind of non-attacking unit after the fact. Well, yeah, probably can't attack with these.
I will take this power in my lady's name.
But I still feel pretty safe about attacking here. He only has the 1 good block with the Sun Guardian. And then we're going to get those replacement units off of the Darkin Bloodletters. And so it's not a huge loss to have our units go away. Now we can start adding in the Reaver's Row. Seems fine. Do we need to do some serious blocking this turn, though? We probably do. The Warden's Prey, unfortunately, doesn't have good blocks here. Let's add in a Ballista so we can try and shut down the Sun Guardian. Ooh, this is not the game we want to be playing.
Let's get him, crew.
It's like we at least know our block on the Sun Guardian is good. He's not going to have any more mana here, but the rest of these blocks are actual turds. I don't want to fall to 3, just die to a Nox and Fervor. I mean, we're struggling pretty hard as it is with this board, but I feel like that just kind of gives him everything if we fall that low. Probably don't even want to play Ceaseless Sentry, right? The way I'm kind of envisioning this is we'll load up our 2 Dark Enthralls, and then next turn we'll just add the Reaver's Row. Can't play that one? Can we not play all these? Alright, we can play our Bloodletters. Load up on these can't block units. Looks pretty strong on this board, huh? I'd say he'll just ignore this attack. This would be really sweet for us if he blocks stuff. But, okay, got away with a little bit. So the Reaver's Row can come in. We can put the Bloodletters on the Corsair. So we at least have a good block onto Ravoon. And then we'll have a fresh unit coming out of the Reaver's Row. Ooh, Destined Poro. He's ready. He's ready. Alright, so the Leona stun's going to hit our big unblockable unit. That's at least a minor victory for the turn.
Breaks on the battlefield. Bask in the light's radiance.
Let's add Ceaseless Sentry. So we're not dying to Might, right? He's fallen down below 3 mana, so we don't have to worry about that. We can come in and just block Ravoon at this point and fall to 1. I mean, I don't think we're going to be winning the game next turn, but this is our shot to really kind of blow up his board, and then maybe follow up with Aatrox. Oh, let's just make usage of these stats. Like it's like you see the Aatrox and you could maybe make something work with him. Oh boy, we hit a Darkin Harp. Who's our biggest unit? It's going to be the Darkin Thrall. So when he plays a Daybreak unit, the Leona's going to stun the Darkin Thrall. The downside with this is Leona's going to pick up a barrier, then we can't really do anything about her. Let's wait and see, though. This open attack is just not good enough to win the game. So I'm going to put the Darkin Harp onto Steem, make a scout attack. Oh, boy. Okay. Okay. He's taking a line from the Bust playbook and putting the Sunforger in. I don't recommend the Sunforger in the aggro versions, but that was a backbreaker there, that's for certain. That's a tough match, though. We didn't even have to deal with Samira. you can imagine how fun it's going to be with Samira on board, just quick attack challenging down all of our one-cost units. But victory achieved. GG opponent. Move on to the next one. Right, the Heimerdinger Jace. What do we got here? Definitely hang on to the Reaver's Row. I think we want to get rid of the Jagged Butcher. We can hang on to the cultists and maybe find an equipment. I guess I could see an argument for getting rid of multiple cultists. Like I definitely like hanging on to at least one drop here, since we don't have that double trouble like we did in the previous games. But
Remember, we're the ones who make progress happen.
maybe mulliganing the away another one would have been okay. Nice. It's an interesting turn. Like I kind of want to get the Darkin Fan on board. It does make us really susceptible to Mystic shots. Let's add in the Buru Cultist first and see what opponent does.
In my lady's name.
We might want to just stop with these to get the Watchful Idol down, since it takes a bit of time to get going. It's like, it just seems too risky to get blown up by Mystic Shot. Let's see if he takes the board clear here.
Keep it up.
Okay. A little bit of damage is happening. Not big damages, just little damages, you know. Just little ones. Shell Shocker number 2. We're going to be emptying out this hand. Sure. Coming in hard and coming in fast. I haven't seen such a shock blast before. The 6 damage shock blast coming in to hit a tentacle and a tentacle generator. So we shouldn't have to worry about more AoEs at this point. That's kind of cool. Got this big damage attack now. Add in the Reaver's Row. I like it. You don't have to worry about things like Withering Whale anymore. We did have the Mystic Shot. I didn't see where that came from in his hand. If it came from the freshly drawn cards or the older ones that appear over on the right. I was just trying to think back to that previous turn to where we could have played the Darkin Fan but chose not to. It just feels like that would have been a disaster. The more and the more I think on it. Right, good collection of dudes. Get to empty out the hand again, then pop off the Reaver's Row next turn. Speaking of bodily functions, right? You got cold, I'm hungry. Got rocks in my boots. That's the voice lines on the Blade Squire. Wonder if he ever attacks with this this Hex Tech. I'm gonna load up the Blade Squire. Like I was wanting to put the Bloodletters onto the Buru Cultist because it's our highest value unit, right? It's definitely our highest value unit if we put the Darkin Fan on it, but guess it's worth the risk.
The strong don't want mercy.
Add in our no value Jagged Taskmaster. Get these attacks in. I'm not risking a big spell here. We're going to attack with everybody. It's just You know, he has 8 mana along with the Pharaoh's Fancier. It's just too dangerous in terms of the high value plays opponent can make here.
Watch your toes.
Mystic Shot on the Squire, something like that. Interesting blocks. Says, I've been bested, bust. I've been bested. GG. Alright, next battle. Whew. The other favorite Robert California quote of mine is, Jim needs something explained. And so Robert says, well, would you like me to explain it with a nature metaphor or a sexual metaphor? And Jim says, most certainly want a nature metaphor. And then Robert California just says, so you have 2 animals having sex. Well done, Robert. Alright, but back to the battles here. I feel like we're actually going to pop off this Jagged Taskmaster. This has been a unit that's fairly challenging to activate, but I think we're going to go for it here. I don't think we don't typically care about these 2 damages from the Bakai, so I think we can probably force a block in this space. People usually don't let you just hang out with Crackshot Corsairs. But the way I typically look at the opposing units is if it's a lurk unit, then we'll try our best to kill it. These things like the Forsaken Bakai and the 2/3 predict, we don't give as much worry about, since it's never going to have 6 or 7 or 8 attack. Thinking hard on it though. There it is. There's the block. Opponent has to worry because if you can run into a spot where you just don't have any units to attack with. It's a true disaster for the opponent. You should be safe here against Bilgewater, but if you have the unit and then have it get hit with a Make It Rain, there's a lot of potential to keep him from attacking and missing out on lurks. Alright, the pack has been called. He's going to be hitting the lurk this round. I feel it, I'm certain. Alright, so let's go ahead and load up the Bloodletters. We can't block the fearsome units, right? We wanted to get the Shell Shocker on board, but... oh, shit. I forgot, he's got the bonus attack from the Taskmaster. That's okay. There's a Rek'Sai.
Ain't you a looker?
Well, we at least get a follow-up unit out of this. It's pretty meaty. It's going to gain us a bit of health. Hopefully that's enough for a bit of recovery here. We don't have the strongest hand against Lurk. Hopefully the Reaver's Row gives us some useful blockers along the way, but I'm a little scared here. Not big scared, just a little scared. I wonder if he's gonna have a Snapjaw Swarm. That would be the... It's not a disaster. It's just a ton of damage, right? We really want to be adding the Reaver's Road to the board this turn, and so him coming in with the unblockable Snapjaw Swarm would be kind of annoying. Just does everything his deck needs, probably hitting an additional lurk, getting that damage in, getting the second attack in, not losing the swarm on the attack, but I don't feel like we can win the game without dropping the Reaver's Row. So we'll see if we get punished here, but I think this is a necessity, and then we're just kind of hoping that they don't have it. Because it's like, do we ever really win the game if we drop the Buru Cultist here, block, don't have time to get the Bloodletters? Like, that all sounds bad. I am on board with this if you want to drop your hooks into the Darkin Thrall.
They all sink before they float.
And just trying to envision how we get maximum units next turn. I think we want to drop the Darkin Bloodletters onto the dude. We're going to lose the Darkin Thrall to a quick attack challenge on Pike, but we can still refill our boards a little bit.
I seek a weapon worthy of
So the
Nagake
Cultist comes in, the Bloodletters. Oh, I can't play the Bloodletters. And do we ever want to just drop Zolani this round? As it is, he doesn't really have to block anything. The Chronomancer can't block what we have on board. Maybe we just open and then follow up with Zolani. Like, we can kill off the Darkin Thrall after combat. I think I'm okay with that. Because after this turn, it's just old Zolani's all the time, right? We're not playing any of these other cards, and so if the Darkin Thrall survives, and then we get to keep it. Interesting. So Pike's gone. Not how I expected that to go. Man, what is his angle here where he just doesn't have any units? Okay.
War is a curse I cannot omit.
Oh, okay. Never mind. We couldn't Darkin Bloodletters here. It's like, why didn't we play the Bloodletters first? And it's like, well, we can't. you can't play Zolani if the Bloodletters is on the board. And then no play. I wonder if he has like a Blood in the Water here and a Rek'Sai. Like maybe he has a second Pike or something. Just very odd with him not having a multitude of plays coming out this turn. Here's the Rek'Sai. Small mode Rek'Sai. Okay. We should be good. He doesn't have any more cards in his hand now, so it's definitely not a Blood in the Water. It's just a couple more Lurk units. Most we should be taking is... Oh, no, we hit 2 1-drops? Are you kidding me? What a... This fucking deck. Would we have even survived against 1? Maybe not. Alright. Alright, so we have the block here, we have the block here. If it was just 1 unit coming in, right, we would be only taking 10 and falling to 1. Well, I was thinking today, this morning I did purchase a lottery ticket. The disclaimer we always give when we purchase lottery tickets is the amount of money I will be giving my viewers, 0. You get $0 when I become a billionaire. You don't want to run into that space to where you're the waitress at the local diner and one of your patrons tips you a lottery ticket. They hit, and then you get a lawsuit because there's some kind of implied value in them purchasing the ticket for you, or however that bullshit goes. And so whenever we're talking lottery tickets, I always give the disclaimer: the amount of money I will be giving my viewers, $0 is what you'll be getting should I hit. But I was thinking this morning, since I did purchase a lottery ticket, perhaps we would play Lurk today, because that's the only people I can assume that actually enjoy playing the Lurk deck are those people that get a lot of enjoyment and a lot of excitement out of purchasing scratch-off lottery tickets. And so That guy, he hit. He hit on his ticket for certain. He said, watch this bust. I got you here. I got you, fam. I'm gonna spike the 2/1 drops. Ugh. Alright. Now the Darkin Harp turns up. Would have been much better if we had not spent the mana. The way I was envisioning this turn is we don't have a lot to do in our hand, and so we want to be getting the bonus hit off of our Taskmaster this turn, so we need the equipped unit to do it. And then, excuse me, I wanted our cultist thing to be able to open attack. And then everything just kind of fell apart in the sense that we hit on how are we doing this? We want to get Steem with the Darkin Harp, but we need to put damage onto the Petricite Charger. We can do all that next turn. Okay. But no, that's what I envision, is the same person that enjoys playing Lurk also. You gotta get your scratcher. You gotta bite your tongue when you're scratching, right? Get one of these. It's the way it works. It's pretty much science at this point. Oh god, we did it again? We hit the Shadow Fiend twice? I guess you have a lot better chance these days to hit the Shadow Fiend, given that a lot of the 1-drops were removed out of the format.
Spirits of the land, hear my call.
Now Udyr turns up. Hi. Well, let's party. Sure. Not going to be enough for a kill. He's going to fall to 1 health.
There's power in water.
This should be safer, right? Protect our Steem. I don't think there should be something weird happening here with Udyr, but gotta watch this. He's got that. He's got that stance swap in hand, ready to bring the AoE onto Steem.
Shock.
We gotta block with Steem here. It's just too easy.
Breathe it in.
Sure. And then the thing to note, we're gonna be playing Zolani next turn, so we just want to spend 6 mana however we can. To lead off with the Cultist, it's gonna eat the Scattered Husk. We want our better unit to get the majority of the stats here. We can play everything else this turn. We have the mana for everything, so we'll be adding the Jagged Butcher, and then the Harp and the Ballista will come in.
I summon you. Bounty board knows me name.
So I'm gonna put the Harp onto the Cultist just to protect our best unit that we have. Right, it should be an 8 attack facing an 8 health Udyr, and then we'll put the Ballista on our worst unit here, just to kind of spread out the damage.
I see lies and words and truth in blood.
All right, Zolani's gonna flip on this attack as well. I don't think he flips the rest of the team. That's when he attacks, right? You have to be flipped when you do it. Mess this up. Oh, it's when the units die. It's not when they attack. Oops, I'm getting confused with Kale. Holy shit! He's got 15 health. The fuck did all that come from? The fuck? Dang, son.
Such is my
How's this get up so high? The Shield of Durrandi and stuff?
wicked,
Dang, dude.
puny thing.
That's a lethal. You're gonna need to rearrange that. He's being sad panda over here. His Galio's gonna lose all the health across the board. Oh, I guess we have these fearsomes down here, and that's his problem, right? He can't put Galio, can't put Stony Suppressor in front of our fearsomes.
This will all be over.
I didn't think of that. We wouldn't have gotten the kill, but we should have put maybe put the +2 attack thing onto the hatchling. So Aatrox isn't quite ready to party in this combat. Yeah, he's facing down a lot of. Why does Udyr keep all this health? Jesus. Oh boy, and a Gorlith? Are we just fucking dead? Okay, takes us to 1. Can't go to 1. We die if that's the case. But how does he work? When I'm summoned, swap my health. I can't be blocked, so we can still block this other stuff, right?
I don't think so.
Can't fall to 1, though. He'll just kill us with a stance swap. Oh, no, we messed this up, didn't we? We should have blocked 2 units so we could have got our Zolani flipped. Is that the case? What's our World Ender cost? 10? Jagged Butcher's equipped, the Hatchling's not. Next turn we'll go up to 8. Or we'll go up to 9, so we only need a 1 bank to World Ender next turn. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and put equipments onto the Hatchling. I want to go with the fan. I want to have this full board of dudes. See what we can do. Oof, that's a little rough though. Well, I don't know. We probably did want those flipped Zolanis, right? Well, we lose a unit in the process though, right? We would have only been flipping 1 unit. Ooh, that's tough. That's tough. Look at that board though. That's kind of juicy. Kind of juicy right there. People still play Buried and Ice. In the previous format, I'd be like, oh, fuck, we're about to get hit with Buried and Ice. But I don't think it's exactly a problem anymore. So let's see. You can come in. These friends can come in. We want to hook Udyr down this way. Probably want to hook... We're going to kill with Overwhelms, and we probably want to hook Inaka down this way. See what we can do. We should have put Zolani way down to the right, as we're going to lose the Pra and lose the Pra Part 2. We would get the bonus stats onto Zolani. It's definitely going to matter if he, say, has like a flash freeze here. It seems like we have enough to get in front of, say, like Shield of Durandi, but we're definitely missing out on +4/+4 on the Zolani. A little sloppy. Aito. GG. Is that what you all expected to see? You see Bust coming out with the Reaver's Row 1-drop deck, and then you just start flipping Aatroxes? It's such a polarized situation there between just dropping a ton of little tiny hopeless and helpless small dudes and then just also hitting on the World Ender. It's wild what you can do with this thing. Good stuff though. Alright, who do we got now? A little bit of Nora. Okay. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. It's scary in the sense, like, when we played against the... when we played against the Caitlyn deck, and they're able to come at you with all of the just the removal spells and the flashbangs and everything, it's not particularly ideal. You know, it's a tough matchup, and this matchup carries a lot of the same stuff. They can get the width with Nora, and they have a lot of cheap removal spells, but there's a big part of their deck to where they're playing stuff like Disintegrate, and like Disintegrate against like the 1-drop plan. The Disintegrates and the Scorched Earths of the world aren't very good, but against the you know, the big unit plan with the Zolanis and the Aatroxes and the like, it's much better. So it's kind of interesting how the two ends of the spectrum combine against Nora here.
The dead don't need riches.
Dearie me.
But here I just want to open. I just don't want to give him a chance to just add a value unit to the board that trades with us well. So we can still get all of our mana on board next turn, but right, seeing the Conchologist come in is exactly what we were trying to avoid. And so now we can say look to see if there's a good place to Bloodletters, Double Trouble, and then next turn open with Eye of Nagakaboros. Potentially get a big slam in. Well, let's make him Pokestick face, right? As it stands, he's going to get the Pokestick to hand. The Gnar's not going to flip this way. We'll still get the smaller unit, and then we aren't going to get Pokesticked. Well, if he Pokesticks to flip his Gnar, it's going to protect our smaller units on board. No, we got to get equipped next turn, don't we? I guess this still works out. Well, we'll see. We'll see where the Pokestick goes. It's got to be on the Saboteur, right? And so it's like a little bit of a bummer to not have a good open attack here, but we can get the Idol in. That's going to make a Tentacle, and then we can look to Eye of Nagakaboros for some prize damages here. Blood in the water, interesting. Be something to watch for next turn. Okay, interesting. He doesn't kill any of our units. All right, we got one good attack. Do your work, my friend. Do your work.
Can I help you?
Oh no, we weren't equipped though. Yeah, we were. What the fuck? Oh, when an equipped allies attack. Okay, shit. I was wondering where our 2 damages went. A lot of our play was tied into that. Alright, so let's get this moving. Let's put the Darkin Fan onto our Darkin Thrall. I'm going to Blood in the Water onto Conchologist to make a big attack. And then... is it even worthwhile anymore? I was envisioning all this happening and then just dropping Zolani next turn. Maybe we need to switch to Steem. Spell Shield. No, regenerate. You gotta call your shot, you know. You gotta call it. Alright, mini Gnar on board. Comes the Steem. Yeah, Zolani, a little scary, you know? Again, this deck has a lot of Disintegrates, has a lot of Scorched Earth kind of cards. I'm not super hype about sending a Zolani onto the board, but I mean, I guess at the end of the day, we can look to just switch into playing Darkin. Maybe that's where we want to be right now. So let's do this. Let's Zolani. I'm gonna eat the husk.
We have waited so long, Zolani.
And now peace is just moments away.
To start trying to soak up some of those big removals with our big units. So I'm gonna drop the Zolani. I'm gonna put the Ballista onto Darkin Thrall. See, there's a Disintegrate kind of thing coming in. All right. We can still keep bringing the heat, right? Sure. Ain't nothing wrong with bringing the heat. I'm kind of looking at this blood in the water onto Broadmain, maybe getting a nice rally next turn. I'm going to have to watch out for this Darkin Fan. I feel like that's the way that we would actually be ending the game, is getting that gigantic summon from the fan. Oh, Captain Farron's? Oh, we can get by with this. We can get by with this. He's only got 1 mana behind now, so we can drop a Zolani. And then next turn, we can open and get the big transforms, make him have to deal with 4 of these dum-dums. Says, uh-oh, the Aspect's Bane coming in. Not the Bane of the Aspects, bro. So we just take this? Non-Darkin followers into exact copies of me. So it is exact copies. That Flash Freeze would have mattered earlier. So, again, we got to worry a little bit about things like Scorched Earth coming in. I think we just take this. Go Crackshot Corsair. And then we may not win with this open attack. We'll probably win with this open attack. Don't get me wrong, but we may not win. But then being able to follow up with the Blood in the Water. Did we already Blood in the Water? Where the fuck did that thing go?
Aim for the heart.
Okay, it's just it's just in the left side of our hand. I wasn't seeing the picture down here, but I feel like he may be able to stop this, but the follow up rally should be enough to finish. But there it is. Nice 65 piece coming right to the nugget. GG. Oof. Good stuff. Let's get ourselves into this final battle. All right. Pretty sweet, huh? Pretty sweet. I haven't been a big Zolani enjoyer, but the times change, man. Sometimes you just got to give it a shot. You know, you got to dip your toe in the water, put the tip in, whatever you like to say. Oh, that feels good, man. All right, the last one up against Darkness. Let's see what we can do. I'll hang on to 1 Reaver's Row. Do we ever want to hang on to both? Like, both strikes me as being kind of greedy, but this is the kind of deck to where we should have a lot of time to pop off with these. Let's just call this a little learning experience here as we're up to battle against the Darkness deck. Lead off with the Shell Shocker. Good chance it just gets popped on the first turn, but it does let us play the Cultist and the Darkin Fan next turn.
I seek a weapon worthy of Nagakeburos.
Got anything interesting for us here? Twisted Catalyzer. All right, so we have to put the fan onto our good unit, right? Ideally, we would be putting the Darkin Fan onto the Shell Shocker, but it's a complete disaster if we put the fan onto the Shell Shocker and then he's got a group shot or he's got a pie toss. And so we'll just have to trade away the Cultist here into the Catalyzer. Kind of is what it is, but that's my line of thinking here. All right, Catalyzer down. See what we can do. Very uninspired turn. Just drop the fan and hope for the best at this point. We probably, we probably don't want to attack into this thing. I don't really suspect we're going to make it 2 turns and get to pick up the Fearsome onto the Shell Shocker, but there's probably not a lot of real reason to just come in and trade it away here. Destroys the equipment. Gotcha. All right, Reaver's Row. It's not bad. We can do Reaver's Row Shell Shocker this turn. On the next turn after that, we can bring in the Eye of Nagakaboros.
Thousands to go.
I dig it. He's gonna drop this darkness on our elusive unit. I mean, I wonder if he actually wants to put the darkness onto the Shell Shocker since it's capable of killing Senna next turn. It's kind of interesting. Let's just keep dropping him with that in mind, right? If we have a 3-attack Crackshot Corsair, it's just going to die. Well, it can get value blocked by Senna, we should say. But if we're putting these 4-attack units with the Shell Shockers on board, his options aren't nearly as good. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, we're going to have a small 1-drop from the Reaver's Row and probably have an Eye of Nagakaboros on board, so the small units are going to be there either way, but it's at least worth thinking about our
Turn it against them.
our bigger units attacking into Senna here. And a fresh Shell Shocker. All the Shell Shockers and an Omen Hawk? Oh boy. We got all the big friends. And then what about just playing Aatrox? I kind of let that play just slip past us. He's big enough. Like, if we play Aatrox and he just gets popped by a Vengeance, I think that's a good turn for us.
Astounding curiosities lie ahead.
That bubble stuck well.
Probably not going to lethal this turn, right? He'll get a block on Aatrox, but all these dudes out here ready to kill Senna. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool if you ask me. They're going to get to double grow when the other Reaver's Row pops next turn as well. Alright, what's happening? Lots of removals coming in. Hate Spike on Aatrox and drop the bomb on Aatrox. Interesting. Aatrox is actually the unit here that I cared the least about. So it's interesting seeing that come through. I guess we have to worry, like, Decenada is a card. Like, Decenada has that potential to AoE our whole board, but that costs 8 mana, not 7. So we just have to be ready to open attack. We don't even have to be ready to open attack on the next turn. It's, well, with Senna available, you do have to worry about it, but Reborn Grenadier. Guess he's ready to block Senna. Sad noise for what you're doing. And then it looks like he's tapping down to 5 mana, so we only have to worry about 1 darkness this turn, but Senna will be able to provide another darkness next turn. I think we're okay, though.
Let us take a peek at life beneath the waves.
Let's get him, crew.
Let's get him, crew. I don't think our non-fearsome units are ever going to be dealing damage next turn. I don't want to just pass. We have to put the ballista somewhere. The downside is... we'll wait. I just assume he's so heavily incentivized to attack with Senna and get the darkness in hand. I feel like we're going to get to play the ballista after the fact. Well, oh, there we go. That's a big do-nothing. Little nothing burger coming out here. Alright, I definitely feel better now. That was enough. He says, that's too much bust. Too much sweetness. Too many fearsomes coming at me. GG. And so we can take this deck, pull it up, talk about it a little bit more. Now that I've got to play some more games with it, I have some more thoughts. And so the thing that's always kind of interesting with a deck like this is you see cards like Jagged Taskmaster and you're like, oh, that definitely fits. It does give our units all of these bonuses. But it typically doesn't pop off. And I feel like Jagged Taskmaster is a card that should probably just be removed here because it just doesn't activate enough, right? It's fine if you're playing like the Plunder deck and you have Samiras generating flares or you have warning shots or whatever to where you get to kind of pick and choose when your Plunder hits. But with the way that these games sequence, you're not open attacking very often. And the Jagged Taskmaster is oftentimes just a bad 3-2. And so I think it's okay to go. You could probably get it removed out of the deck pretty easily. You could think to replace it with just like another equipment or just another 2 units. You can always play stuff like the spell. You can play Wanted Poster if you're really hurting to have the 1-drops in here. But I think the Taskmaster could go. The other one I'm not super impressed with is Watchful Idol. Like, we do get some synergies out of Watchful Idol and Eye of Nagakoboros, but again, it just doesn't really have any synergies in this deck. And it's kind of like on the chopping block. And so I could definitely see working around some of those, getting those removed. And I think that'll help kind of tighten up the numbers. But even if the numbers aren't perfect, I feel like we got a pretty good sample of games that we played, a pretty good set of games. You got to see a lot of the synergies and interactions within the deck. You get to see how it has this really nice and strong early game power. It has nice mid game with the Reaver's Row, and then of course has great late game between all of the Darkin and the Zolanis. And so I'm really glad that across the course of these games, we got to activate the Reaver's Row for some success, and then we also got to play Darkin, and we got to play the World Ender, and we got to play Zolani, because it's really easy to miss that you're saying, oh, this is just the most aggressive deck on the planet, just playing like 15 1-drops in it, and it's so wild, the amount of longevity and the amount of late game that you have tied into it. And so all those things are well and good. The Darkin Bloodletters, absolutely fantastic as well. And so, good stuff. Not a bad set of games. I had fun. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so, hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. So, this is Bustin' Me. Thank you for being here.